There comes a moment in every life when the noise fades, the lights dim, and you're left standing alone with one haunting question. What now? You've tried, you've failed, you've fallen so hard that getting back up feels impossible. But let me tell you something. This is not where your story ends. This is where it begins. Because every champion you've ever admired once stood exactly where you are right now, staring at the wreckage of what went wrong, wondering if they had the strength to rise again. This speech isn't about success. It's about what happens after failure. It's about the fight you find within yourself when no one's cheering, when the dream feels distant and the pain feels permanent. It's about that voice inside you that refuses to be silent, the one that whispers, "You can still make it." So if you've ever been broken, betrayed, or beaten down by life, don't look away. Stay with me, because what you're about to hear isn't just motivation. It's truth. It's a reminder that your comeback is not just possible. It's already in motion. Every setback, every sleepless night, every tear you've shed is part of the setup for your rise. By the time this message ends, you'll see your failures differently. You'll stop seeing them as the end of your story and start seeing them as the reason your story will be worth telling. So take a breath, open your heart, and lean in. Because failure is the beginning, not the end. When you fall, it doesn't mean you've lost. It means life has just handed you a new lesson, a new chance to rise stronger. Too many people stop at the point of failure, thinking it defines who they are, when in truth, it only reveals where they are meant to grow. Every great story has a moment of defeat. Every champion has faced a wall that looked impossible to climb, and every dreamer has tasted the bitterness of falling short. But the difference between those who rise and those who stay down is the belief that failure isn't final. It's a foundation. It's the soil where strength, patience, and resilience are planted. When life knocks you down, it's not trying to destroy you, it's testing your will to get up. Failure shows you what works and what doesn't, who stands by you and who walks away, what you truly want and what you were only pretending to chase. It humbles you, shapes you, and forces you to look in. And in that moment of reflection, when you realize you can begin again, that's when your comeback starts. Because failure doesn't close doors, it opens new ones you never noticed before. It pushes you to think differently, to work harder, to believe deeper. Think about it. Every successful person you admire has failed, and not just once. They failed repeatedly, painfully, publicly, but each time they chose to stand back up, not because it was easy, but because they refused to let their story end in defeat. That's the secret most people miss. The comeback is hidden inside the fall. Every time you fail, you gain information, wisdom, and direction. You learn what it means to persevere when the odds are against you. Failure refines you. Failure refines. It burns away your ego, your excuses, your fears, leaving behind only what's real, your purpose, your drive, your truth. It teaches you how to rebuild with more courage, more humility, and more clarity. So when you fail, don't curse it, embrace it. Because failure is not a signal to quit. It's an invitation to start again, this time with experience in your hands and fire in your heart. Pain is the price of growth. Every great transformation begins with discomfort. Every breakthrough is born out of struggle. You cannot evolve by staying comfortable, and you cannot rise without first being pressed down. The world has a way of testing your limits, pushing you to the edge until you realize that the edge is where strength is born. Pain is not your enemy, it's your teacher. It comes to strip away your weakness, your fears, and your doubts. It comes to expose the parts of you that need to change. Growth doesn't feel good while it's happening, but when you look back, you'll realize that every painful chapter carried the lessons that shaped you into who you were meant to become. When you're hurting, it's easy to think life is unfair. It's easy to wish for an easier path, but those who rise understand something powerful. The pain you avoid is the same pain that could have made you unstoppable. Every champion has walked through storms that others ran from. Every dream realized was once surrounded by nights of frustration, tears, and uncertainty. The struggle is the training ground where your faith, your patience, and your strength are tested. You grow not when things go your way, but when you keep moving forward despite the pain trying to hold you back. Pain teaches you to endure. It reminds you that nothing worth having comes without sacrifice. It humbles your pride and strengthens your resolve. When you're in the middle of pain, you may feel like you're breaking, but what's really happening is that you're being rebuilt. You're shedding the old version of yourself, the one that couldn't handle what the new version is destined to carry. Without pain, you'd stay in the same place, repeating the same mistakes, living the same story. The truth is, pain reveals your power. It's the fire that forges your character. When life hurts, it's not punishing you, it's preparing you. It's preparing you. Every moment of struggle is shaping your comeback, molding you into someone wiser, tougher, and more focused. So instead of asking, why me? Ask, what is this teaching me? Because one day you'll look back and realize that the pain that once broke you actually built you. When failure hits, don't run. Reflect. Most people are quick to escape the feeling of defeat, to bury their pain under distractions or excuses, but real growth only begins when you stop and face it. Reflection is the bridge between failure and wisdom. It's what transforms a mistake into a message, a setback into a strategy. When something doesn't work out, it's easy to point fingers, to blame others, or to convince yourself that life is unfair. But those who truly rise are the ones who ask, what can I learn from this? Because they understand that every fall carries hidden instruction. Failure isn't meant to define you, it's meant to teach you. But you can't receive the lesson if you're running from the experience. When you reflect, you gain clarity. You begin to see the reasons behind your choices, the patterns in your behavior, and the mindset that led you there. You learn where your discipline slipped, where your focus faded, and where your confidence wavered. Reflection turns confusion into understanding, and understanding turns pain into progress. The truth is, every experience, especially the painful ones, is rich with wisdom. But wisdom doesn't speak to those who rush away from their mistakes. It speaks to those who are still enough to listen. Reflection also brings accountability. It forces you to look at yourself honestly, to stop pretending and start improving. When you take ownership of your failure, instead of running from it, you regain power. You realize that you're not a victim of your circumstances. You're a student of your experiences. That shift in mindset is where transformation begins. Every setback has something to teach you about who you are, what you value, and what you still need to build. When you take time to reflect, you're not dwelling on the past. You're decoding it. You're turning pain into direction. The comeback doesn't start when everything is fixed. It starts the moment you decide to understand why it broke in the first place. Reflection is not weakness, it's wisdom in action.